Okay, so in this scenario, I've gone back to the client. They've given me, I've said, it's going to be $15,000 to clean up your mess that you've created here. And now they've given me the approval to come in and clean it up, and the money, more importantly. And so I'm going to, there's a couple of ways that you can start to kind of dig down and into this data and see the issues that need to be addressed and fixed and start fixing them. My preferred method is to use what's called focus here in Dext-Precision. I will talk about that in a little bit more detail later. For right now, I will do it through this, this kind of client overview right here. And just know that that's not like the preferred method that I would use, just because I like to get into like a focus mode and go through and have a checklist of each item that I've addressed or not addressed. And right here, it's not super clear what I've started to review or not review. So there's a couple of things that you can do. You can come over here to the cleanup and you can start going through each one of these items, and you'll see that it matches this cleanup box right here. So I could click on unreconciled transactions. And I can look at it and I can say, okay, wow, this bank account has not been reconciled. I can go over to QuickBooks. I can start reconciling. Once I reconcile, I can recalculate it. Dext is going to recalculate it and mark it as reconciled. The next one would be duplicate contacts. That one's done. There's nothing to do there. And then we go through multi-coded contacts. So multi-coded contacts is actually one of my absolute favorite features of Dext-Precision, because it highlights the contacts where there's account code differences and there's tax code differences. And this is really important, especially in Canada when we're dealing with HST, GST and HST. I don't want to have tax code differences on transactions potentially. And so what you can do is you can say, okay, Amazon has an issue. And I would have to go back to, let me see if it will, I think it will link to QuickBooks right here. No, it didn't. What it's saying is that one record on Amazon has tax exempt. And then it's saying that account code differences, one time it was uncategorized expenses, one time it was purchases, one time it was journal expenses. So obviously with Amazon, I need to go into the QuickBooks account. I need to reclassify this transaction. And then I can hit recalculate and Amazon will be gone from here. The other option that I have is I can go over here and I can say tax code differences, 14 records are tax exempt, 12 records have Ontario, but potentially this is okay. So there's a scenario where this is okay, that maybe the client switched HST methods mid-year or from the previous year. And I could just dismiss this and say, this isn't an issue. It's not an issue. It's not an issue. I've reviewed it. It's dismissed. And then when we go back over here to the overview, the house score will have changed. It shouldn't technically have necessarily gone down. The house score is a little bit fluctuating at Dext, but it will, once I've gone through all these issues, it will go back up. So that's the multi-coded contacts. And then you have dormant accounts. These are accounts that we already talked about in the chart of accounts that haven't been used for a while. So you can actually select them and you can archive these accounts. If you select archive, we'll archive all of these accounts on the QuickBooks side. So you don't have that issue of having to go in and archive individually. The other thing that you can do is just say this is not an issue and it dismisses it and it's not an issue any longer. And then the house score will go up. And then you have the duplicate transactions. In this case, there's no duplicate transactions to review. So if I go back over to my overview, I've gone through the cleanup issues and then there's the insight issues. And it kind of drills into details about each one of these from this area. Then we also have business performance. We can see revenue movement and reports right here. And then there's also reports. And then there's this sandbox, which is really cool. I honestly have not had time to dive into this as much as I've wanted to yet. But potentially you can create your own, we can create our own custom reports right here within Dext, pulling data from QuickBooks.